views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to the Windows of the East Bronx here at Mercy College. Each week, BronxNet's team of creative students and passionate professionals shine a light on the stories, places, people, and events throughout our community. I'm Marissa White, and I would like to welcome you to this edition of the Week in Review. Hello and welcome. I'm Marissa White, Director of Creative Services here at BronxNet Television. Celebrating Women's History Month, Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. honors inspirational women in our Bronx community. Katie Aloy Knight has the story.
Today's Women's History Month celebration is being held at Scavello's on the island, where they will acknowledge honorees Ale Wadi for her work at UFCW Local 1500, Malady C. Baez, the Deputy Chancellor for New York City Department of Education, and the Honorable Ines E. Dickens, Council Member at District 9. Let's hear what they have to say.
I'm truly humbled. Honestly, when I received the call, I even got very teary-eyed, and I really wasn't expecting it. To be honored by the Bronx Borough President's office, it's truly amazing. I mean, we've worked with my organization. We've done really amazing work to keep workers in the Bronx and overall in the city of New York employed in good jobs and to keep the Bronx growing. So it's really exciting.
To be recognized with the other women that are being recognized today and the global leadership that is here is very impressive, because as I told one of them, that for women that they're meeting, whether they're being recognized or not, that they're meeting today, that well-behaved women seldom make history.
Special guest Collins Jenkins, who is the great-granddaughter of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who fought alongside others for women's right to vote, is continuing her family legacy by fighting for women's faces to be shown along with men in leadership.
I'm thrilled to be here, and particularly for the girls, because we are the shoulders for the future generations.
President Ruben Diaz Jr. says that it is important for him to celebrate women who have made a difference. He says that these honorees today had excelled in fields where men usually get the recognition.
Well, if you look at their trajectory, you look at their commitment, they have contributed in the world and really excelled in fields where men usually get all the recognition, whether it's education, whether it's in the labor force. So it's about time, and this is a national debate now where we need to start getting realistic, getting with the times, and understanding that women are great contributors in many, many different fields, in every field for that matter. And as women go, society goes.
Mistress of Ceremonies Eva Siskus brought to the forefront that women gained the right to vote in the 1920s, and like such, women can make a difference. She quoted a scene from the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding to drive home her point. It says, "The man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way she wants." Girls from the Global Learning Institute came out to express their passion for music and women who had impacted their lives. In today's celebration, the future for women, the present and the past, were all in one room, and they all expressed the same viewpoint that women can make a difference and that all women should work to make a mark. For BronxNet, this is Katie Aloy Knight.
When it comes to superheroines, the powerful ladies that grace the pages of comic books are brought to life by the talented women who create them. BronxNet gives us the story with the Bronx Comic Con's Women in Comics event.
Well, the Bronx Heroes Comic Con is basically an organization that I started in 2008 to try to bring comics and education and literacy to the Bronx. Since then, now in 2016, we started changing the name to Women in Comics Con because we wanted to promote and focus on young women and promote the industry of comic books to young girls.
it's important to have a convention specifically for women in comics because for so long, like, people have thought of comics as like a boys' club.
The male allies and friends here that do have lead female characters in their books.
Women actually draw comics, and if they see you at a table, it's like, who draw this? Like, me. And they look at you like, oh, really? So having something that they know that specifically there's going to be a lot of women that we draw, so that's always good, and it's something different.
So from women's empowerment to the male's representation in society, our correspondent Johan Lorenzo gives us an inside look at Italy's unique exhibition.
From Milan to Manhattan, when it comes to New York City style and art, beards have taken over the newest trend. But the beard isn't just a fashion statement, but a representation of the person who wears it.
And for all of us, it's an honor and a pleasure. And we arrive here with our exhibition, Your Shape, and talking about the shape that every man can change through this bird.
Exhibition photographer Roberto Chierici began his artistic journey by experimenting on himself. Deciding to grow a beard allowed him to discover a whole new aspect of his life and look.
So the first thing that pushed Roberto to do something like this was because he got a beard himself before he was completely shaved, and then he grew a beard, and he realized that his beard completely changed his look and the way he was also like with other people.
Barber Robert Briscolini took part in the exhibition for the opportunity to highlight past traditions and social roles of the beard.
For him, it's like doing a dive back into the past. When beards really meant something, it was a social symbol, it was status, it meant something about being maybe wise or sage. For him, it's like a look into the past and getting back those traditions and those, uses that people may have forgotten nowadays.
Visitors of the exhibition discuss what beards mean to them.
While you are in the process, you are in a different world, you know. It's been great, actually, yeah. I think I'm gonna do it again.
Like finding yourself as a man within the beard concept of having a beard and how you actually find your confidence wearing a beard. And obviously every human being's beard is different, so it's how you wear it and how you feel confident with it.
Beards vary from style, tradition, and one's manlyhood, but most of all, a representation of who you are. This is Johan Lorenzo reporting for BronxNet.
From the north to the south to the west to the east, we are expanding our services and upgrading technology at Lehman College. And now, Bronxites have an innovative media production facility in the East Bronx at Mercy College in the Hutch Metro Center. The windows on the East Bronx studio, a state-of-the-art control room, media labs for production and training, and other media-capable spaces. Training, workforce development, leading-edge technology, and programs that help you share your ideas, your voice, on your channels, locally and globally. Build media and technology skills at BronxNet and build your dreams.
Still generators off?
Hi, honey. How are ya?
I'm all about that bass, no trouble.
You gotta learn your body, pace yourself, and have fun. So let's go have fun.
on BronxNet Television, Channel 67.
Hello and welcome back to the Week in Review. If you miss any part of today's show, be sure to check out all these stories on BronxNet TV or FiOS Channel 33 or Cablevision Channel 67. So March not only highlights women in history, but Irish heritage as well. The Bronx Borough President celebrated the culture, people, and heart of the Irish community with a celebration at the Rambling House. Christina Pagan gives us this story.
A soldier's song with cheering, rousing chorus.
It's Irish Heritage Month and everyone's Irish today as the Bronx Borough President honors Irish Americans who are contributing to the Bronx.
There was music and merriment at the Rambling House in the Woodlawn section of the Bronx as the Bronx Borough President's office honored Irish and Irish American contributions to the history of the city and today.
Well, we always celebrate the progression of the Bronx, and people need to realize that there was a solid foundation that was laid down here. And one of the communities that did that was the Irish community. And so while they don't have the numbers that they used to, there's still many living here on Woodlawn, and they contributed to many different areas, whether it's the fire department, the police department, teachers, building the waterway system that goes into downtown Manhattan via the High Bridge.
Longtime New York newscaster Mary Murphy of Pix 11 hosted the ceremony and spoke about her Irish ties to the Bronx.
Both my mother and father had a strong connection to the Bronx when they first came here from Ireland. They both came on the boat. They didn't come on an airplane. My mother had an aunt living here in the Bronx near the Grand Concourse, and my father for 30 years drove a city bus from MAPSTOA, the Manhattan Bronx Surface Transit Authority.
Among the honorees was Keith Klain, co-CEO of Doran Jones, who is part of the borough president's technology push for the Bronx. He expressed his excitement about being recognized for his contributions to the borough.
I'm incredibly honored, and I think that it's a real opportunity in the South Bronx particularly to build out a technology hub. There's lots of diverse talent and training programs and a real energy, I think, to do something there that has a social impact as well as industry and technology impact.
Quent, a well-known public affairs advocate, was also honored for his work and his long association with the borough president. He reminisced on the first time they met 20 years ago.
Ruben truly possesses the same energy, the same intellectual curiosity, and the same desire to make a difference that I admired in him so many years ago.
Vice Consul General of Ireland Shane Cahill was also on hand to receive a proclamation from the borough president, recognizing the achievements of the Irish in the city and the Bronx, and remembering the centennial celebration of Irish independence.
It's truly historic. This year is our centenary year of the events that led to the independence of the Irish state, the Easter Rising in 1916, and it's such a joy to be here representing the government and the consulate here in the Bronx with such a wonderful community and such an outpouring and celebration of Irish heritage.
This is Christina Pagan reporting for BronxNet.
Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, shared his views and ideas for expanding women's rights and leadership at the 47th Annual Lehman Lecture. Nancy Asiyama has this story.
Here at the Lovinger Theater in Lehman College, where moments ago the 47th Annual Memorial Lecture took place with a very powerful message. Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, called for solidarity and compassion as he spoke to the men and women who gathered in his presence.
Whenever I travel, whenever I saw those young people or women, a vulnerable group of people who, without United Nations assistance, would be living in a very terribly difficult situations, then I am very much humbled when they still believe that United Nations flag is their hope, their beacon of hope. That really makes me humbled and motivates me.
He spoke about the connection the UN has with Herbert Lehman when he was appointed Director General of the United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration in 1944.
He oversaw efforts to provide life-saving assistance to millions of people. I think a UN High Commissioner for Refugees should be this successor organization.
The face of the UN has changed drastically as many women in today's society have taken political and leadership roles. He emphasized a lot on women leadership and equality, as well as the strong voice young people have in the world today.
Then if we do not provide decent jobs to young people and women, then this becomes a source of political instability. When the community is not happy with the leaders because of their lack of opportunities, you have a legitimate right to challenge your leaders of this community. You can challenge your president, senators, congresspersons, business CEOs, and community leaders. Just tell them that this is my world, where I will have to live with my children.
Lehman College's president, Ricardo Fernandez, said the Secretary General's message resonates very well with the college, as women occupy most of its student body.
Some of what we see in the current politics of the election and the campaigns, people are concerned because he said, what do we need? We need to provide jobs, we need to provide an equal opportunity for people, and a lot of that hasn't happened in this country. It's been eroded. People who used to have jobs all their lives, those jobs have vanished. They've gone to other countries, and I think that's what some of the candidates are picking up on. So it's a very contemporary message that I think our students understand very well.
I thought the Secretary General was absolutely fabulous, and I thought the most important point that he made was that young people need to make their voices heard. And he very specifically said that, and he also said it within the context of the limitations that people who have powerful offices sometimes have, but it doesn't mean that they can't listen to or support people who are seeking their rights. So he specifically encouraged young people to rise up and make their voices heard.
His evident compassion for migrants, people fleeing chaos all over the world, and how important it is for us to have compassion. He said, these people are no different from you and me. And I thought, that's a beautiful thing when we see leaders in our own nation acting as if refugees aren't human beings.
Aaron Rodriguez is a sophomore at Lehman College, and he says he can relate to the message delivered by the Secretary General because of his immigrant background.
I really think that was a good message, because coming from an immigrant parents myself, I can really connect to that. My parents came here for the American dream, and they're fulfilling that not only through themselves but through me.
Well, I think that people wanting a wall is not a good idea, because not only does that not let people who actually they need to go to other places because they're running away from the bad things. And I think that when people say that they want a wall to be put up, they're not thinking whether what if you were that person and you needed somewhere to go and there was a wall and you couldn't.
Secretary General Ban Ki-moon believes that women's rights, equality, and environmental awareness are some of the main key factors all nations need to focus on to bring world peace. For BronxNet, I'm Nancy Asiama.
Thank you, Nancy. The Andrew Friedman House here in the Bronx has been a haven of art and culture for our borough. This past week, they held their first annual open house. Kadia Loy Knight has this story.
It's the first annual Andrew Freeman Open House here in the Bronx, where it will be a day filled with amazing arts and culture. Director of Exhibition and Residency Coordinator Melissa Calderon explains to us what we should expect to see here today.
Today we are having an open house from noon to midnight, and it is just an Andrew Freeman extravaganza of everything that we have to offer. As far as arts and culture, we have exhibitions, we have film screenings, we have open artist studios, we have live music performances, food, drinks, just everything, and it's an all-day affair, so we're open till midnight. We're hoping the community will come out and join us. Everything's free. Well, we wanted to be able to talk about the issues that are happening in the community, and we feel like artists are very much aware of the changes that the Bronx are going through. So both of these exhibitions, actually all 4 of the exhibitions that take place during the time here, during the month of March, are all about the Bronx community and the changes and the environment, and all of the artists that are here exhibiting are from the Bronx, and we felt like this is where you really you support the arts and you support the artists that are creating the work. And we felt like, what better way to be able to have people see what people are creating, see what the artists are saying about their own home, than to have an event like this and just open it up to the public and allow them to come and enjoy and talk about the work and themselves. And that's really what's been happening. So it's been great.
The goal of the Andrew Friedman Home to not only create a gallery space, an art space for the community to interact in, but for artists to show their work in a professional presentation.
The Andrew Friedman Home Open House also highlights issues that the Bronx is facing in their exhibitions. The director of Andrew Friedman Home, Walter Pereira, pointed out the Apache line that talks about economic hazing and how the Bronx is experiencing that in the form of gentrification.
When neighborhoods changed or are forced to change because of the economics coming in, how does that affect the cultural integrity of a neighborhood? The Bronx is currently going through that now. And we're not just talking about gentrification, we're talking about something on a national level.
Representatives from Designing the Week came out to bring awareness to the concept of On Design the Red Line, where it focuses on the deep historic and economic systems that created areas of disinvestment. The co-founder of Designing the Week, April DeSimone, talks about how their concept of impact design can be used to uncover and change policies that are seen in the system, and why it is important for the Bronx community to be aware of this.
It's very important because when we look at statistically where we're at with structural inequality and systemic racism, if we don't really take an in-depth anthropological look as to what got us to the conditions we're dealing with today, we really don't understand how we can move forward. And we have to be very cognizant and mindful that a lot of the things that we're dealing with, again, in present day, are deep, systemic, and entangled in a history of policy. So we, as Designing the We, uses impact design as a way to really unearth this history and to move forward in how do we ensure that we design or use design to create more equitable and just system.
The Andrew Friedman Home is not only a place where artworks are being displayed, but it also provides a few artists with a space to create their own art pieces.
Having a studio here in a historical building, for me, is like a big thing. I studied architecture, I work for an engineering firm now, and all these things help me gather my concepts from just staring at the facade of the building to being in a space that actually people lived in. It connects to everything I do.
Well, I just started my residency at the Andrew Friedman Home, and while I've been here, I've been researching the Bronx and researching the future of the Bronx and the history and the architecture, and I've done a lot of research and combined that all together to create these kind of psychological landscapes of combining the past and present and seeing how those two cohabitate together and how they influence each other.
Well, what we're standing in front of right here are 3 pieces that are works in progress. The work that I do generally is it has a painterly vibe. It's very urban art oriented. I grew up as a graffiti writer back in the days, bombing the subways and stuff like that. But I've taken the artwork to a space where I'm able to translate my creative urges and really throw down a little bit more substance and a little bit more coherency in the work.
The Andrew Friedman Home is a historic building that is now housing a dynamic group of artists and art pieces in the Bronx. For more information about how you can visit this art space, go to the website andrewfriedmancomplex.com. For BronxNet, this is Katie Aloy Knight.
BronxNet student interns Kalia Tejeda and Karina Ramirez joined teachers and parents as they learned easy ways to save money using coupons. Let's check this out.
The PTA and parent coordinator of PS 83 are hosting an extreme couponing workshop to help the community save money.
Staff members, parents, and seniors from the Morris Park Association attended the extreme couponing workshop at PS 83 in the Bronx. The parent coordinator, Ann Daly, hosted the event in order to teach attendees fun financial tips and tricks. Ann Daly, parent coordinator, spoke about how this event helps the community.
We're here trying to teach the community, teachers, staff, parents, seniors, how to coupon, how to save money for the future for the children. and having dinner and showing them how to get free stuff.
New York State Assembly member Mark Jonah attended this event to give his support to the struggling families with difficulty saving money.
Well, we have so many struggling families out there, and every penny counts. This is another great way to bring community together and serve those families that are truly having a hard time.
Parents and staff members of the school gained some knowledge about how to save money using numerous different websites.
I didn't know about Ebates, that you could go on to Ebates and just list all your purchases, and you could actually get something back from Ebates at the end of the year. So I found some new websites that I wasn't aware of before, so I'm going to check those out.
As seen today, it's never too late to start saving. Remember that every penny counts, and coupons is a fun and useful way to begin your financial journey. This is Kelia Tejada reporting for BronxNet.
Building a bridge between Bronx youth and its seniors has become one organization's goal. BronxNet went behind the scenes to learn more about grandparents around the world.
Behind me is a group of eager teens who, instead of staying in bed on a Saturday morning, came out to take advantage of an educational workshop from their seniors. Grandparents Around the World is an organization created to help minimize the gap between the youth and seniors, as well as providing mentorship and direction. Founder Yvonne Gillard Randolph tells us the inspiration behind the organization.
Our community, basically the elderly people in our community, was our mentor. Those were the people that we went to, we looked up to, and we respected whatever they gave us in terms of inspiring us. We can have one-on-one, we'll have our personal mentor, but we really want to feel it from the community. And if we can bring community together and to represent that or to create that look, that would really be great.
In life, we see that many children disagree with education because some of their parents did not go to school because of many reasons. However, in today's society, that piece of paper that they may feel is only a piece of paper can open up many doors for them.
Many of the mentors who came out did not just see it as a benefit for the teens, but also as a way to give back to the community.
As a teacher, I think that more children need to be mentored by people who are professionals because they have such a variety of things that they compete with outside. So, for example, they have the media and movies and videos and everything technological. They're exposed to it, but being able to sit other than in classrooms with their teachers who they may deem as some sort of a mentor, the opportunity is rare.
Having a mentor is very important because you have someone that sets an example for you. You have shoes to fill. You have someone who can write you out a plan, help you to plan where you want to go in life.
Everyone needs to be able to map out where they want to go in the future. As the person who mentors me, he says, you need to connect with someone who's already seen the movie that you're trying to get to.
It's important for me to see other people that are constantly going after what they want and never giving up, because it's easy to give up. Giving up's the easy way out.
This was the first of a 2-week event. Following will be a high tea ceremony closing out the festivities, but building relationships that will last a lifetime. For BronxNet, I'm Veronica Greety.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. If you missed any of today's stories, we encourage you to tune in to Open on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, live at 10 a.m. You can also check us out on the web at BronxNet.tv. This is Marissa reminding you to stay connected through your channels here at BronxNet. Until next time, thanks.
Go visit your local public library.